100% entertainment, 100% electricity, 100%.
Pipebomb Radio with your host, Felix Olmedo.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
And Austin James.
That's the bottom line. From stone to stone.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Pipebomb Radio tonight. Austin's running a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay. We can definitely continue on without him if I have to. It's fine. But as far as tonight's guest goes, we are supposed to have former WWE superstar Brodus Clay with us tonight. Hoping everybody's enjoying the summer. I know here in Southern California, you just don't know what kind of weather you're going to get. Starting off in June, it was really, really cold and then warm. And as July started to approach, it's been in the hundreds already. Now, I'm not in the South where Austin's at, so I couldn't tell you how his is going. But we shall see. I think he's actually joining me now, so I might have to give him a little bit of hell for calling in late. But, you know, that's what we do best here. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, you know what's funny? I find this really funny that every single the start of this show, we talk about the weather. So I'm thinking we're turning into... No, I think it's funny. I think we're turning into a weather station. Okay, so how's it? Is it cloudy over there? I know it's dark, obviously. Well, maybe it's a little orange. I mean, that's how you tell.
Well, mainly for me, it's just because I'm not a summer person and I'm not a fan of the heat. And, well, you know, never really did it before, though, did we? Or did we do it more in the beginning, or did we do it more now as the summer's here?
Heat was a great show. I mean, WWE did a really good job of the show. I mean, until
what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Heat, the show. You know,
no. I said, did we talk about the weather before in the earlier shows earlier this year? You dork. Listen to me.
Yeah, I mean,
no biggie.
I'm getting it now.
That's cool. So did you watch the Vicky Guerrero thing tonight?
Absolutely, I watched it. Vicky Guerrero was amazing. And just watching that made me think I really took it for granted. You know, I kind of feel bad that I took it for granted and just, you know, not only forgot about all the moments that she's been through, but it felt like it's gone by so quickly. She's been in WWE for 9 years. You know, that's kind of a comparison, kind of like Brodus Clay. Brodus Clay's being in WWE, and he's our guest tonight. He's been in WWE for 9 years. I mean, that's a really long time to be in WWE for. I mean, if you're lucky, and Brodus has had a great career. I mean, he's done so many different things, and he's always had different opportunities. Agreed.
You know, most will remember that he was actually in the corner of Alberto Del Rio when he was going into face Edge at WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta.
WrestleMania 27, that was Edge's last match.
Yeah, it was. And, of course, going on to working with Naomi and Cameron, the Funkadactyls, and teaming with Sweet Tea. Whatever happened to him? He works on NXT now, don't he?
Yes, he's actually under a new name. I think it's, I can't remember his new name on NXT. He has a new commentary name. I haven't seen him lately because it's been Renee Young, Tom Phillips, and some other guy.
You know, they're really going to start to use her quite a bit now since they just recently lost Josh Matthews. And, you know, many people crap on him, but I was always a fan of the kid. What can I say? You know, I thought he did a good job. I really thought he could be the next Michael Cole. But, you know, who knows? Maybe not everybody agreed.
At the same time, you know, there's only so many spots available, and Renee Young's kind of been doing a really good job. I mean, she's really, if you think about it, she's kind of one of the only standout, interviewers they've ever had that be, you know, on the personalities for the little.
You mean you didn't like the coach?
No, I'm talking girls.
You mean you didn't like Terry Runnels?
No, I'm talking about personalities more. Yeah, I know she was and stuff. I'm talking about, you know, how she's more of a. Trying to put this into. She's more of a professional, you know.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know, but she feels so. I mean, she's really nice what she does. She's great. I really enjoy her work. Is she
your WCW?
No, my WCW is always a match, and the people follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They know every single Wednesday it's my WCW match of the week, not all that women crush whatever, you know.
See, she's not your WCW. Oh, that's okay though. But
no.
What did you think as far as the surprises from last night?
Well, they got me. They hooked me in so well. I can barely get the hook out of my mouth still from last night because they got me. I mean, I thought it was. I knew it was The Miz. I was telling people this. I'm like, it's probably gonna be The Miz. They're probably hyping it up to be something that it really isn't. And then The Miz comes out. I'm like, oh, I knew it. Okay, well, just let me check my Facebook for a second, And it's not that I'm the biggest fan of The Miz.
I think they kind of coop on him quite a bit. They use him as their social media ambassador and then do this other stuff in movies and so forth. But when he comes to WWE, I feel like they still kind of crap on him.
I do like his wrestling and stuff, but he's an entertaining person. But it's not necessarily the person, the mystery guy that I want to come out. But then
I understand. Yeah.
About 5 minutes later, Chris Jericho's his fireworks hit, and there he walks out. Y2J, saves us again. It was great. I love Chris Jericho. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with the Wyatt.
I also got to plug something here because I heard, I posted the stuff on Facebook, but the Steve Austin interview he did with Vince Russo was done just so well. It was so well done, and the second part was probably the most emotional I think I've ever heard Vince, because he talked about Owen Hart, and it was intense. It was a pretty intense interview towards the final end. They only touched bases they only touched the tip, which is WWE. And they're going to bring him back later. But I had to bring that up because it was a really well done interview. I really enjoyed it and encourage those to listen if they haven't. Now then, as far as the surprises last night, what about AJ Lee's return? Did anybody see that coming? I
think it was going to happen sooner or later because, Paige, as much as I do love her dearly, as a wrestler, I think she's really good, and just she's a new and fresh face in WWE. AJ kind of took back her reign where she left off of. She's been gone for about 3 months.
Let me ask you something now. With her return and the reaction it got, I personally felt that they one of those rare moments in time where you get to see an actual double turn, because they could use Paige as a heel and use this as look at all the last 3 months what I've done for you guys, and this is how you thank me. You bring back the old champion and give her the title. I think that could be used as ammunition to build her good heel character.
Maybe that's what Paige is.
And bring back AJ as a popular one because she's always going to be cheered.
She's the type that she kind of connects with the people on a level that not many divas have been able to do because of her background with being poor and being brought up as being sat at WrestleMania, the top part of it, kind of inspiration to get her where she is now, right in the middle of the ring. And AJ Lee, I think, is just really good with that type of stuff, and I think that's exactly what Paige needed. To not have the title on her, but be the person that kind of chases AJ Lee for that. And I think being a bad girl is what she needs.
Well, I think at this point, I'm just curious to see where they're going to go, because right now I feel like they could still bring up another talent, maybe two, but maybe not. I don't know. They say that the women's division down there at NXT is probably the best ever at this point. Do you think it'd be wise for them to maybe spare another one or two?
I don't know. Maybe not right now because, seeing the kind of out of an overload maybe. There's a lot of spots for guys to come into WWE, be on the main roster and actually be on the show, but then there's only very few spots for divas to be on the actual show every single week. So in order to build a storyline, you're not going to have a whole Royal Rumble of people in that one thing. There has to be only a few that are chosen.
Good point. And what do you think about the possibility of the Mr. McMahon character being retired and given basically sole ownership to Stephanie as the on-air boss?
I think kind of the on-air boss is Triple H. He's been...
Well, he's the COO, but technically they still refer to him as a COO, and they refer to Stephanie as one of the principal owners.
I don't know.
Just an idea. What did you thought about that?
I don't know. I think it looks more like Triple H is kind of having that boss figure, taking the the bulls by the horn and kind of leading it. Stephanie McMahon they're kind of the same. They're kind of on the same level. Even though Stephanie, obviously, she's going to inherit it all when Vince goes, passes away. But, I mean, Triple H is going to be right beside her the entire time.
Gotcha. Well, as far as that goes, who would you say, in your opinion, well, this is going to be a tough one. I don't think you can actually give me one straight answer, but I'm going to give it a shot and see if you can. Who, in your opinion, was the best big man in professional wrestling? Can you narrow it down to maybe your top three? Maybe one?
I think, by height or, like...
Big man, we'll just say, you can use an example, like we can use Andre, we can use Undertaker, we could use
without a
Boss
doubt,
Man, we can use Yokozuna.
Yeah,
just to name a few.
Doubt, it's going to be Taker. He's obviously the one that's going to stand out above every single person, because not
even
only
more so than Andre?
Yeah, even more so than Andre. In terms of really, and there's different, I don't know if I should say more so than Andre, because they both brought two unique things. They're totally different people, totally different, two total different characters. I don't even think Andre was a character. He was more of a real person who was just a giant.
So as far as everything else, I wanted to take a chance tonight and do something real quick before our guest comes on. And I want you to inform people about something you've been creating. I want you to plug your page. I want you to get that way people get a little bit more familiar with exactly what it is you do. Would you be okay with doing that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Austin James Graphic Design is probably the greatest designs you're ever going to see. I'm not even a professional yet. I do some really, really hot-looking designs. Okay, kids. I'm just kidding. I think you don't have to be a professional, quote-unquote, professional to do any graphic designs or, to be good at it. If you go check out my page, Austin James Graphic Designs, you'll see a little bit of what I do. But, besides that, there's also something that's really big that launched today. That's the Professional Wrestling Historical Society website. Then we have their shows every other Sunday, 2 times a month on the Pipebomb Video Network that we do, and it's always such an informal show. It just brings different new information to our ears and to our brains that you probably never heard of. And I just say, but if you want to learn about professional wrestling history or get started into kind of having that love for it and kind of the interest in learning about everything, that's where you start listening to those shows and checking out the website. Because I actually have an article up on I'll be doing a series called The Innovators, basically the innovators of something in wrestling, and the first one happened to be who might have been the innovators of high flying and who made it famous, and people are probably going to say Jimmy Snuka and so on, but really I kind of give credit to Antonino Rocca and Eduardo Carpentier. I give them both credits for making it famous and kind of bringing it to that wrestling style. And if you remember, in the 1940s, the fans were wanting something more because the events kind of lasted longer than what they should have. Over 5 hours, the matches are really long, and to sit there as a spectator and kind of be watching the clock. So those guys took them. The Antonino Roccas and Edward Carpentier took them and made them stop looking at their watches and start looking at the ring. And that's kind of what high flying, did for wrestling.
I think that with them adding on the more material that they're going to be adding on to this website as well, I know that I brought it up once before, but with that and then all the possibilities that the book ideas that have been tossed over to Greg, this can only continue to grow from here, and I think the idea of the website is great. And those historians who really dig the history, not so much dating back to 1992, because that's not history. That was 20 years ago, yes, but they can go back further. There's a lot more enriched history going back to the early 1900s and so forth. So, that's what they got. These guys take pride in what they do, and they know what they're talking about. They have the research to back it up.
Most definitely.
Just because it's in the 90s doesn't mean it was ancient history. Ancient history, Even in the 80s, it wasn't ancient history. It wasn't that long ago. But, I mean, come on, people. People think that something in the 90s is old school. And it's kind of sad that, and this is not a mark. This is not towards anything about WWE, but sometimes I wish they would change up their idea with their old school and bring some other people back. But you know, it is what it is.
What do you mean? What do you mean by bringing up people back?
Well, you know, because usually they bring back the same stars. They bring back like before. I think when they did it, they had Sheik, they had Roddy Piper, they had Nikolai, and it's usually these guys they bring back every time. Hacksaw. I think that one time they even brought in Chavo Classic once. And, you know, they're mixing it up a little bit. I mean, obviously now they've got the Hulkster back, so they can use him, or even, I don't know, just other stars who might want to come in. Even, dare I even say, even Lanny Poffo? Maybe even Brian Blair? Maybe even, let's see, who else? Just an idea. I mean, even Bruno could show up and make an appearance at a Raw or something, old school Raw. Or
I mean, that's
Koloff.
for special appearances. That's what you know, with those special Raws are for, but not, you know, something that's
yeah, of course. That's what I mean, though, for those old school Raw segments or shows.
They're still legends. They're going to be, you know, in the history books forever. Yeah, you're not going to be able to, you know, rely on them, you know, for all the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just an idea. I'm not something that they would actually listen to. So, but as far as that, I know that. Brodus actually, let's talk a little bit about him for a moment. Some people recognize the fact that he actually was a bodyguard for Snoop Dogg. And if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I read somewhere that part of his name was in tribute to Snoop Dogg. I guess his first part of his name or something like that.
Why, I know I'm not 137% sure, but when he started
in the number you threw up.
when it wasn't, you know, when he started in WWE, he wasn't Brodus Clay, he was G-Rilla. And, you know, I'm kind of realizing now, in WWE, Brodus Clay wasn't just a dinosaur, he was a gorilla. Wow.
There you go.
He was, you know, he was I don't know, what was his name? They gave him a name to go with the Funkasaurus character. It was the Mastodon of Mayhem. You know, and
see, I even would have liked that name because that's what they tried to name Vader too. They kept trying to. Vince wanted to give him the name the Mastodon. The Mastodon. I mean, they referred to him as that, but Vader was always the name that kind of stuck with him. So, but yeah, the Mastodon would have worked for Brodus. I thought.
I mean, they couldn't give it to Vader because Vader wasn't a dinosaur. I mean, he wasn't depicting a dinosaur. He was a powerhouse machine, and it's kind of the same thing as Brodus because I mean, Brodus dominated every single person that was in the ring with him. You know, for the most part, that's what he's been doing. That was his protocol in WWE for the entire time he was there.
Well, honestly, I would have liked to have seen him to follow through with a heel turn that they were going to work for him, but, you know, I can't really put the blame on anybody. I mean, it just maybe didn't work out with the way they planned it, and it just didn't happen. But, you know, and then it looks like Tensai retired from the ring, so. And then I guess I also heard, and this is just, like I said, I don't know if it's true. You can probably tell me more because you watch it more. But I've heard that, what was his name? He's NXT star, tattoos, stay down.
Corey Graves.
Who?
Corey Graves. Corey Graves.
Apparently, I've heard he got injured and may not be wrestling anymore.
That's news to me. I can't recall when he got injured. I mean, when this late, is this something that recently happened?
What I like about this is that the fact that they haven't let him go. They want to actually find something else for him to do. Maybe be a mouthpiece, maybe be working backstage in some sort of fashion. But the fact that they didn't drop him after that was pretty cool, I thought.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're going to drop him. I mean, you know, him.
Stranger things have happened.
I haven't heard that he was injured. I mean, that was news to me when you told me he was injured. But I mean, I think the only person that was kind of sad that they dropped was Matt Hardy. I remember he was injured and they released him when he was injured, I believe. And same thing with Evan Bourne. I think he was just ready to return to TV, and he was battling with an ankle or foot injury for close to 3 years.
Yeah, we didn't see him on TV for quite some time. That was kind of unusual. I mean, I know the dude got in trouble by doing stupid stuff, and I don't condone it, but, I mean, if they can let bygones be bygones for certain stars and not others, that's just not cool. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm just saying that, at least in my opinion, it's not cool. But,
so what do you think of Money in the Bank this past Sunday?
You know, I'm not going to poo-poo on it just because of Cena winning the title. I know hundreds and hundreds of the internet marks are going to be all poo-pooing all over the show. It was horrible. Blah, it just sucked. Why did it suck? Well, Cena's champion. I said, well, really? Just one match is going to blow it for the whole? No, I actually enjoyed the whole show. You know, I don't. Let's put it this way. I don't care for the winner because you know what? I know that the future holds a lot of things, a lot of possibilities. So I like to see where it goes. Do I like that he's up there next to Ric Flair's title reigns? Not really, but, you know, what am I going to do about it? Who am I? Everything else, as far as the other Money in the Bank match, that crazy bump that Seth Rollins took off the ladder and it bouncing him off, that was crazy.
That was so cool. It was so cool to watch. I mean, it probably really hurt him, but for me to watch, that was really entertaining.
And then to see Randy getting his head bashed in like that, too, I was like, oh, my God. And they kept him going. He kept going. They didn't stop the match. That's what I loved about that.
When somebody's bleeding in WWE, they kind of, I mean, ever since they had they kind of turn their switches with the PG and you know, the PG-13 stuff. Usually they would have they wouldn't have let the camera really show them at all. I mean, they did their best to not show it, but I mean, with this one, they didn't really care. I mean, they just stayed showing it, which is, I mean, you know, I'm not really one for blood in wrestling because I mean, certain situations happen where it's ended the careers of you know, Nigel McGuinness, for example. I mean, so I'm not really one for all the bloodiness and that stuff. But I mean, I guess to see it now was really rare.
Yeah. Well, as far as everything else goes, you know, I was doing Twitter for Pipebomb on Sunday for the matches and so forth. I came across a tweet that somebody that said that they should have played if James Brown was around, God rest his soul, they should have had him playing Living in America during that matchup with Brodus and Rusev. Because they were definitely pushing that America versus Russia thing, kind of like they did in the Rocky movie. And if you've seen Rocky IV, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if you've seen it or not, Austin. Maybe, I know it's obviously before your time, but doesn't mean that you wouldn't have seen it. So.
Well, it's before my time. Yet, obviously, can't be shown to me since it's before my time. Of course, I've seen the Rocky movies. That's a given.
Well, I mean, were you ever a fan of the Rocky movies?
Not the biggest fan. Not you know, like anybody else. I mean.
Well, if you ever get a chance to sit down and watch it, I encourage it. Definitely a good movie. But as far as that and then going on to the Divas match, you can definitely tell the Funkadactyls are going to be all but extinct here very soon. There's definitely a split coming. Most are predicting it'll be at SummerSlam.
Yes, I mean, the split of Funkadactyls are obviously it's probably going to happen. I mean, I think that needs to happen in order for Naomi, especially Naomi, to go on with her career, because I think she's going to be an integral part in WWE.
Well, do you think Cameron can pull off being a good heel?
I don't know. Like, I don't really.
Well, just your opinion. I mean,
no,
you don't have to
really
elaborate too much. You can say yes or no. It's fine.
I don't really know what to think about Cameron in general. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she just ever since I believe wasn't she on Tough Enough?
Yeah, she was that one the Melina versus Alicia Fox favorite match.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's using it more to for her music career than anything. I'm not that I'm not really for those type of people. But I mean, for what she's been doing, I mean, she's been a great dancer. You know.
Well, it is something that can be said about Eva Marie. They put her in the spotlight so quickly after just so little time training, when there's so many other women that have been working their butts off to even make it to the main roster, and just on her looks alone, she's in the main roster. She can't wrestle to save her life, can't cut a promo to save her life, don't remember nobody's name, and all this just to push the reality show. And I'm not saying this to knock Eva, because you know what, I think she can be trained to be good enough. I mean, hell, people didn't think Trish Stratus would be good enough, and look at her now.
One of the best. I mean, with Eva Marie, in my opinion, I think she has a lot of potential. She's really into this, and I think she is. I think she really wants to succeed. And it's the same thing for everybody. You're not gonna. There's some people that aren't gonna get it immediately, and there's some people that are. And I think she's just gonna. In time, she's gonna be, good. It's kind of like the Bellas. The Bellas weren't necessarily the best, but now, if you look at them, they've really improved in the ring, wrestling-wise. I think they're really good.
Yeah, well, I'm still not a complete fan of them, but I like what they're doing. I mean, for what it is, honestly, don't get me wrong, I'd still love to see Karma come back and tear those two apart. Because that was something Karma. That was a story that should have ended on better terms than it did. Unfortunately, it did not.
I keep on going back to that. I mean, I think we're all waiting for Karma to come back because she's such a badass. And there's not many people that can bring that same aura like she did. I mean, there was China and Beth Phoenix. I mean, Karma, I think she could have been such a huge star in WWE. Like, over the top. I was really interested in her. Yeah, I watched her when she was in TNA and stuff, but I mean, I think in WWE it was more of a, people know her past. They know her past in Japan and such. They know that she can be really brutal when she wants to. Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with you on that one. Considering that she's around the same age as Cena, around the same age as Orton, around the same age as Punk, and in her mid-30s, I don't know how much longer she considered doing it. And the fact that she's already been doing the DDP yoga and losing a lot of the weight, she's lost a lot of weight. And she don't look the same as she did when she left. That's not a bad thing, because that's definitely, I think it adds more years to her career if she wants to continue to do this. But my question is that since they built her up to be this incredible monster, would they be able to do the same thing again for her? I don't know.
I mean, if you think about it, look at that one tall black chick. I can't remember her name. She was accompanying Scott Steiner to the ring in TNA. She couldn't wrestle to save her life. I can't remember her name. God, that was just horrible. But my point being with that is, although she looked badass on TV, she couldn't handle it. She got skinny. She couldn't wrestle. Bad example, maybe using her, but I mean at the same time, Karma knows how to wrestle. Karma knows how to do a lot of things. She can be a good person. She can be a heel and do it well. My point was with WWE is that she's not this big monstrous monster anymore. She's actually a lot smaller. Would they still be able to use her?
And if you think about it, there's never ever been a presence like Karma. In WWE, there's never been you never really seen anything like her for a while. I'm trying to think of anybody that really came close to her body type and physical personality. I don't think there was.
Well, as we are coming up on here, I gotta wonder too. Since they did a countdown tonight on the show with Vicky, what if we were to do our own here tonight, just kind of spur of the moment?
Wait, what?
Wait, now what?
I couldn't hear what you said.
What if I were to ask you, maybe your top 10 people, let's just say if I threw out that, because we tried this before, but unfortunately your connection on your end was dying out on us, and I couldn't get a straight answer from you.
Or
but
maybe
if I were to ask you,
that's what I said, or maybe I did it on purpose.
Funny.
With countdowns, I guess I'm guessing cool with it, but I mean, it's usually really hard for me to think of top.
Or do you want to just do that for another time?
It's up to you, but I mean, one.
Well, no, because it would have to really make you think about so many people just on the spur of the moment. And what if you don't name everybody that you want to name? And it's like, maybe we should plan it. Huh?
No, we can do that if you want, but I mean, it's cool. But I mean, with missing with Brodus Clay, if he happens to, then he has prior engagements, we're definitely going to reschedule him for the future. We always have. I mean, with Dan Severn, what's his name? We had him on.
Are you talking about Brodus?
Bill Anderson. Yeah, I mean, we could always
Oh,
schedule
Bill.
him another time.
Bill was awesome.
I messaged him earlier today, and he hasn't got back to me. He hasn't been on social media for the last 5 hours, so, I mean, I don't know if he's seen my message regarding, a few details on
it's
the show.
cool. I mean, hey, things happen,
Especially
And I know I didn't catch who you were talking about at first, but I realized what you said, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Well, things like this happen. I mean, you can't really do anything except kind of adjust to it, so, I'm sorry, I cut you off there, pal.
For the top 10, I mean, you can definitely do it if you want. So what is this top 10 on? This spur of the moment top 10.
Well, it's just an idea I just kind of thought of just for the hell of it, but I don't know. Do you think we should just wait?
Wait on what?
Well, I'm just saying. Maybe if we just threw out there, since they threw out there just recently the top 10 most magnificent managers, why don't you give me a list of your top 10 managers of all time?
So difficult. It's probably going to be, top 10 is probably going to be, that's probably going to hear most of the time, but I mean, I don't know. I couldn't give you a top 10 of my favorite managers. I'd probably give you a top 3 without it being, led by, and people are probably going to hate me for saying this, but I mean, it has to be Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is my favorite manager of all time because he's done something. He's been by somebody who's done something that no one's ever been able to do in their career. I mean, there's people that, I think you know what I'm getting to, Felix, but I mean, there's people that have won championships, people that have won matches, Hell in a Cell matches, elimination chamber matches. I mean, different things. There's different things to win they're doing, but nobody's ever defeated the Undertaker streak, with an exception of Brock Lesnar, who was
here we go.
managed by Paul Heyman at the time, for WrestleMania 30. Because as you know, I don't know if you know this, Phil.
I think we'll just go ahead and have to end it right there. Thank you very much, and good night.
Well, no, I think that, I don't know if you know this, but Paul Heyman is actually the one.
I'm not going to complain about Paul Heyman. I'm really not. I actually am a fan of the guy, too. Do I care about the circumstances that ended the streak? Not particularly, but, it is what it is. I mean, I want the Undertaker to be healthy, and obviously listening to the interview that Heyman did with Edge and Jericho last week, he wasn't in good shape. He collapsed after passing through the curtain, and he had to be rushed to the hospital. I would prefer his health than any damn streak. I want him to be around for a while. I mean, shit, nobody wants anybody to die, and he's been one of my childhood heroes for the last 20 years.
But how poetic would that have been?
Well, I would have preferred to have been 22-0, but that's just me.
No, I said how poetic would it have been if he actually. And I would have hate for this to actually happen. I'm saying if it would have happened, what if he would have died?
See, that's not even something you can really joke about, really. All right, I'm not saying that you're joking, but I mean, I can't even really fathom that thought.
No, you're not getting what I'm saying. He's been in a career where he's been, portraying a dead man.
Mm-hmm. I think I might have missed your point.
Obviously, because you think I'm joking.
Well, no, because the way you said it made me think, well, damn, why would I want him to die? That's not cool, as Carlito would say. But I missed your whole point.
I said no. I'm not saying no. I don't want. I'm not saying he should have died or anything. But I mean, I'm saying that would have probably been the one of the worst things to happen. But at the same time, I mean, how poetic would have been for the dead man to be slayed by the beast incarnate.
I don't really care to comment on that.
Oh my God, yeah, okay. Well, continue with your next top 10.
Well, you didn't even give me no. You only gave me one.
Okay, 2. Bobby Heenan. 3. 3. Let me think. I think so.
I mean, obviously, you explained why you like Heyman. You didn't really say why you like Bobby. You didn't really say anything else. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Just checking. You kind of faded out on me there. Well, I mean, you started in talking about Heyman just to get me, just to get at me, because I know that's what you were doing.
No, honestly, Heyman is my favorite manager of all time.
No, but I mean, you said, oh, and you're going to love this, Felix. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I
sure,
said,
buddy.
I know where you're getting to. I said, I bet you know where I'm getting to with that. I knew you were going to get mad at it. That's probably why I said it, but at the same time,
I'm not even mad. I'm not mad. Don't trip.
It is true. No, I'm saying it is true that Heyman is my number one because he really has done something that no manager's ever been. I mean, managers like Bobby Heenan or Sensational Sherry might have led their guys to getting championship title reigns, but at the same time, nobody's defeated the streak.
I know. I don't like it, but I know. And that's something that'll be something he can lay claim to fame, and he'll always be remembered about. That's really the only thing he'll be remembered about. I mean, they can call him this and then call him that, but I mean, ultimately, he's the one that ended the streak, and Undertaker's not bothered with it. And well, I'll leave it at that.
Well, no, we're not going to leave it at that. I think we want to go into a little more conversation of this because I want to ask you a question. Who do you think else could have done it? If Brock Lesnar wasn't the guy, who else would have done it?
I thought we were going to be talking about managers.
You cannot say I don't know. You can't say anything. Who else would have done it?
I thought we were going to be talking about managers. When did this turn into put me on the spot about the streak that ended already?
No, who else could have done it? Who else? I mean, you say Brock Lesnar.
You haven't even finished naming your managers here, fool. What are you going to ask me for a question that I'm not ready to answer yet?
I finished my managers a long time ago.
You only gave me a top three. Top two, I think, really.
So all I'm going to give you is my top three. But this is the...
I didn't hear the third one.
I said Sensational Sherry 7 times.
Well, then, excuse me, because I didn't hear you the first time.
Okay, well, I'm still asking you a question. Who else would have broken the streak? Who wasn't Brock Lesnar? Who else could have done it?
We're out of time, folks. We got to go. Honestly, I don't think I think he should have retired with it. That's just my opinion. If I had to choose one, which I don't really care to choose one, because I don't think anybody's worthy of taking it. I really don't. If I had to choose one off the top of my head, I could say maybe, not that he needs it, but maybe a Roman Reigns. Not that he needs it, but maybe a Bray Wyatt. Not that he needs it, but maybe a Seth Rollins.
Well, I mean, there's been some...
I'm not a fan of Sheamus because I don't think Sheamus is worthy of it.
Okay, then...
And that's not the reason why I'm not a fan, but I just don't think Sheamus is worthy of it.
Really? I mean, but besides Brock Lesnar, Sheamus has been going to be longer than Brock Lesnar. Combined years, he's been going to be longer than him. And I mean, but Brock
I'm not saying Brock deserved it either. He didn't, in my opinion. He don't deserve it.
Well, it's not about, I don't think it's about the deserving factor. It's more about who could have really defeated the streak. I mean, there's been,
if I had to put it down and say if I wanted to write it into a story, I'd have to agree with Jim Ross and say that if you really want to do something that hasn't been done yet and make Cena heel, have him beat him at WrestleMania.
I don't know, that would have been big. But at the same time,
that would have made him turn like nobody's business because of the fact that people want to see the streak continue each year. Hell, people go watch that for the fact of that attraction. And the fact that it's not there anymore, what are they going to do now?
Other people who might have beaten the streak might have said, okay, well, I mean, I've beaten the streak. There's a lot of people that hate me now. Brock Lesnar doesn't care. I mean, he is a person who is out for, I think, only a few things. I mean, with wrestling, and I think he enjoys it. But at the same time, he's a person that can take the heat of being the guy who has to defeat the Undertaker's streak of WrestleMania. And if you think about it, I mean, he's had a stellar career all around. With the UFC, with NCAA champion. I mean, he's done a lot of them. If you think about it, he kind of is the only option for a person who would have went on to defeat the Undertaker's streak of WrestleMania.
Do you think he was? So you think that Brock was the best choice, though?
Absolutely. Now I'm saying I did not like the idea when I was sitting at WrestleMania. I was despised him, but I couldn't even believe it because you're always like, oh, he's going to kick out, and he's always going to kick out. I mean, he's done it 21 times before. I mean, 20 times before. And, you had no doubts about it. And then that was probably the weirdest thing to be in an atmosphere. It's just, different from watching it on on your TV, your television screen at home, because when you're there, there's people crying. I swear it was crazy. But that's what they should have done. And they played their part in the match by saying, counting 1, 2, 3, and I promise you, every single person in that building said the 3. They said the 3, and he didn't, they said the 1, 2, and they expected him to kick out, and then and he didn't. It was a really weird moment.
Well, you can literally feel during that moment of, God, it seemed like it went on forever. But the moment of silence after the match, it killed the enthusiasm in the audience. It totally destroyed them. Hell, it destroyed everybody in my house.
And the Divas matches right after that.
Well, that kind of was sucky for the Divas, because even they said it on the Total Divas during season 2 that nobody saw that coming. Therefore, they kind of have to go out and top that. Oof. No pressure, right?
Impossible.
But since you put me back on the spot, I think I answered fairly. I have never wanted the streak to end. Not really. I don't think he had that. It should have ended. But it's not for me to decide. I have to, unfortunately, deal with it, like it or not. But like I said before, streaks or no streaks, nobody will ever be able to do what he's done. Nobody will be able to match the amount of victories he's had consecutively for 21 years.
And you put me on the spot. You put me on the spot naming my top 3 managers. What are your top 3 managers of all time?
Well, I'll do this. If I were to name top 3 valets, top 3 managers, I'll do both. Number 1 would be Bobby Heenan. Anybody who knows he's my all-time favorite. If I were to go to number 2, I would go with Paul Bearer / Percy Pringle for what Percy's done in world class as well as WWE. Number 3, it would be a tie between Cornette and Heyman. Women, I would have to go Sherry. I would go Medusa. And I would go Elizabeth.
Now, I have another question for you.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Go ahead.
And you probably think, there's so many top 10s, or top 3s that you can think of with managers and matches and such. You would think that the hardest one to be answered is who is your top 3 favorite wrestlers of all time. Probably the most generic question you can ask somebody who's a wrestling fan, but who really is your top 3 favorites, wrestlers of all time?
Top 3 of all time?
Yes, of all time.
Geez, no pressure. Well, I would have to put up there would be Ric Flair, Randy Savage, and The Undertaker. Not in that particular order, but at least in those 3 that come to mind right off the top of my head, because they were a big part of my childhood. If I were to go back even further, I could look at some of the other guys like Bruno, like Ivan, but I didn't grow up during that time, so I'll just stick to those 3 that I mentioned and leave it at that. I'm gonna
name my I'm gonna go a little bit to the side here. I know you named the top 3. I'm gonna name my top 5. 5 because
go ahead.
Number one will always be, without a shadow of a doubt, Chris Benoit. That's it. Chris Benoit is my favorite wrestler of all time. Second is Dean Malenko. 3, Shawn Michaels. 4, Jushin Liger. And 5th, Ric Flair.
Okay.
That is who I'm going with. It's kind of a mix of people. Those are, 4 or 5 people that I think are 5 of the best wrestlers who've ever lived.
Fair enough. Now, since you put it out there as far as
the... It's tough for this year on Pipebomb Radio, but we're kind of making do with what we have here. We didn't really expect Brodus Clay to not be able to make it, but that kind of happens with a lot of people. Especially with him just getting off of, WWE a couple weeks ago. He's probably been real busy, and I can 137, the number comes up again, percent express, you can understand that his matter. So, we're definitely going to get him within the coming weeks and back on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about this. At this point, things happen, life happens, and I know a lot of these guys, the list of people that were released just recently are going to be hit up to do interviews all the time. It's almost impossible to get through to them. I mean, not necessarily, well, not everyone, but some are harder to get through than to others. You know, a lot of times they just have so many freaking emails, it's ridiculous to even answer every one. And I know they're going to pick and choose who they want, because some people do. I know that when I reached out to a particular name, they had already committed to doing a few other podcasts, and that maybe sometime later they might consider ours. And you know, you got to take that. Now, there's going to be some people that get more publicity than we do, and that's cool. But we've definitely created some kind of reputation now that we believe that people do take us serious and are respectful, and they know that we are respectful to them.
And, you know, for right now, since we have a semi-dark cloud, almost, you know, we don't expect to break out in top 3, top 10, top 5s. I mean, we don't expect to do that, but I mean, we kind of pulled our cards out and picked one and seen the number on it. But I mean, I'm going to announce who our next guest is, and it's actually a guy who's a former NFL player. I mean, he's in Ring of Honor now, and the ties that they have for getting publicity for their company, especially in the boom period they're having right now, being, you know, on pay-per-view a few weeks ago, you know, and with Best in the World. Moose, his name is Moose. I'm probably going to really rupture his last name, but I believe it's Moose Ojanaka. And he's just getting into professional wrestling and really sinking his teeth into it, and has a deal with the Ring of Honor, I believe, and they're really pushing this guy to be, you know, forced to be reckoned with.
That will definitely make an interesting conversation. I look forward to having him on here next week. We've definitely continued to keep busy here on Pipebomb Radio, and we also bring in a lot of new faces, a lot of new familiar faces. Above anything else, you can always rest assured that it's never a dull moment.
Well, especially when we have to name our top 3. I mean, that's, I hate doing those so much, but I mean, it depends. But I mean, especially with this.
Well, you know, in cases like this, we're always prepared for whatever comes up. You know, and that's what I like. I mean, true, with coming up with an idea like this is the spur of the moment, so you have to come up with something fast because you're like on the spot, rather than planning it out. Be like, okay, number 20, we're going to do this person, number 19, and blah blah blah, all the way down to 1. No, that's actually something we save for the end of the year. I really enjoyed doing our last year's end of the year show, getting you guys the little clips of what we had. I mean, we had an amazing 2013, and you all got to hear it. And I think there's a good chance we might do it again this year. We'll see. And I know with this coming Thursday night, the guys over there at Nacho Mama's radio show, they've got Headbanger Thrasher coming on their show just the day before 4th of July. I guess Austin coined the phrase, but just, you know, the fireworks are already kicking off for a little early for their show or whatever. I don't remember how you said it, but you said their 4th of July spectacular. There you go. And then we got Pro Wrestling Historical Society returning this Sunday as well.
And for good reason. You know, after their huge launch for their website, you know, this morning, it's only fitting to talk about it this Sunday. I mean, it's going to be a really great show.
I think so too. I really do. These guys always they're never at a loss for words. Always keep it fun, keep it original, keep it entertaining above anything else.
You know, a few more things I want to kind of go over here is that there's one subject I think that needs to be talked about, especially in this time of TNA wrestling.
Oh, sure.
And the reason why I say that is because, I mean, they've been, and especially for the most part of 2014, they haven't been doing their best. You know, the best entertainment, I guess, wise. And, you know, only for me, I mean, I'm always going to be a fan of TNA. I have been, you know, since 2002 when they were in their inception. But, I mean, especially, I don't know, I just haven't been really getting into it, you know, for the past month. And I've been watching every single episode, but, I mean, I think they're about to go in the next boom period, which is something that's desperately needed. And they're kind of basing out of New York now. They're going to be doing that at least for the next couple of months.
Can I just say something real quick here? The the idea of going to New York is not a bad idea. However, the idea of pre-recording the shows is a bad idea.
I hate that. Hate it.
Nobody wants to watch it now.
Well, they already know what's going to happen except me. I mean, I don't read spoilers because people are like, oh, there's spoilers. People are spoiling everything. I'm like, if you don't read the spoilers, you're not going to get spoiled. I mean, unless somebody puts that on in your face and feeds it to you. I don't do that. I'm not a person to read spoilers and try to stay away from it at all costs, especially with TNA. And they pre-record their shows like crazy. There's only a couple of live shows throughout the year because they usually do one show live and then next week pre-tape. And this one's all the way pre-tape. I mean, everything's pre-tape, no live, anything. But at the same time, I'm still looking forward to the return of the six-sided ring, the ring that I really enjoy in TNA, the company. I think it's always made me stand out in every way. I mean, especially if you're going to attempt, which is probably impossible, as we told Bill Anderson last week about if you're going to attempt to compete with WWE, you got to be different somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. And at this point, I mean, definitely keep track of what's going on with us on our website, pipebombradio.weebly.com. Also to check up, gives you links to all of our social media. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We are on Austin's favorite, Pinterest. Shut up, Austin. Shut up.
I'm not going to go into detail with this. You say it's my favorite. If you guys want to, forget all the past guests we've had on Pipebomb Radio. If you guys want to check out Felix's vegetable garden, flower garden, etc., Pinterest is the way to go. He posts it up every single day when he's helping out, all of his niches and everything.
Okay. Well, I guess it'll do it for us for tonight, folks. We apologize, of course, for not having Brodus tonight. That doesn't mean that we're not going to get him. And when that time comes, you'll be the first to know. So hang with us. Don't leave us just yet. Hang with us for the ride for the rest of the year, because the best is yet to come. Yes.
Hold on for a second. I need to call my mom and tell her that we're gonna get her back to get Brodus back on in the future. I gotta go.
Pum. There you go. Yes, you should, and everybody else should too. But in the meantime, I guess we'll just call it a close for tonight. And on behalf of Austin and myself for Pipebomb Radio, saying keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Good night, everybody.